In this video, I've got a recording of a Skype call that I had with fellow YouTuber Darrel Wilson. I'm sure you're already familiar with Darrel's channel, but if you're not, do go check him out. I'll put a card up now and you'll also find a link in the description. Darrel has a channel all around WordPress. It's full of tutorials and how-tos and guides and other stuff that's WordPress related. I'm sure you're going to find it really interesting. He's got way more videos than me. And yeah, I'm sure if you go over there, you're going to learn something that's going to be useful. Darrel is currently traveling the world. He's in Thailand right now, but he was kind enough to give me an hour or so on Skype this morning. And during the call, we spoke about lots of different things, including how we got into WordPress, how we learnt WordPress, how we've made money out of WordPress, and we share some ideas with you on that, on how you can sell WordPress services or how you can use WordPress as an affiliate marketing platform. We then go on to talk about some of our favorite themes and plugins. And there's a few other bits and bobs in there as well. And I think you're going to find the whole call pretty interesting. Anyway, I think that's enough intro. Let's get into the call. Before I start, I do apologize for the quality. It is a Skype call. I've done my best to make it as good as I possibly can. But yeah, it's Skype. What can you do? Anyway, roll the tape. So, in this video, I've hooked up with Darrel, who's currently traveling the world. He's in Thailand at the moment. And we just thought we'd have a chat together, just talk about our experiences with WordPress, how we got into WordPress, how we make a living with WordPress, and also some of our favorite things when it comes to WordPress, like themes and plugins and all that kind of thing. So it's pretty unscripted. We're going to see how it pans out. Hopefully there'll be some good content in here for you guys. And some
I'm never on a script. Never.
Never on a script. Yeah, it's better just to let it flow. So hopefully you're familiar with Darrel. He's got a very popular WordPress channel. You'll find links to it in the description if you want to go check it out. I strongly recommend that you do. But yeah, let's get started. So Darrel, how did you get into WordPress?
Well, I was working just like everybody else. I had the 9-to-5 job. And, I was, always hearing about people, making money online, doing this, doing that. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, why can't I do this? If everyone else is doing it, why can't I? But that's not really how I got started. I first started basically hiking all the time. I always went on hikes with my dog. And I wanted to record these hikes because I just didn't want to put it on Facebook or nothing. I wanted my own personal hiking blog. So I kind of ventured off and I started learning WordPress. I started basically recording all of my progress and pictures on these hiking trips. And then I kind of, did it once. I put it on Instagram and my friend was like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool website. How'd you do that?" And I'm just like, "Well, I use this WordPress." And they're like, "Well, like how long did it take you? How much, like, do you make them? How much does it cost?" And at that point I'm sitting there like, do you want to buy the website? Do you want me to make one for you? And eventually that started to happen very slowly and surely. And it was just word of mouth. And then I started building websites full time for, I want to say about 2 years. 2 years I started building websites full time. And I decided to basically end my job. I quit my job. I started focusing more on WordPress. And then basically that was it. And then basically after I started building sites for people, I realized that there was a market to teach people how to do this, because sometimes these people didn't have a big budget. And I understand that. Sometimes people just can't afford to dump out money on a website. So I said, hey, why don't I make videos on them and they can watch them and maybe somehow I can get a cut or something like that. And that's when I discovered affiliate programs, where basically I refer someone to the service, they purchase it, and then I make a commission. And that's what I started to do. And eventually, the commission rates went higher than what I was making for web design. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll change the market here, And then basically I ventured off and I started doing the affiliate marketing full time. And that's basically what I do right now to this day.
Yeah, and basically most of that's through teaching people on YouTube how to do stuff with WordPress.
Yes, it was a lot of trial and error. I mean, of course, when I started, I was terrible. The sites I was making looked really bad, but to me, they looked amazing. Yeah. And I had to ask people, like, how does this look? And they're like, "Oh, bro, it looks horrible." And I'm looking at them like, "Bro, you don't know anything,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's happened to everybody, where they made bad sites when they first started, and to them it was like the holy grail. But to everyone else, it's like it looks terrible. So yeah, that's basically a good summary. A good summary.
Okay. Well, that's just the learning curve when it comes to WordPress. You start off and you build something and it's not great, and then you just get better and better and better, don't you? The more you do it.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah,
How
that's
did you?
I'm a very similar kind of story. I mean, I started back a long time ago when we had an internet marketing agency in London where we were helping people with their Google AdWords and their SEO, that kind of thing. And quite often, in order to make the Google AdWords work effectively, we'd have to make changes to their website. And a lot of people's websites back then were pretty bad, and they were pretty hard to actually make changes to. They were bespoke. You'd have to get in touch with the web developer. The web developer would say, yeah, I can make those changes, but it's going to cost $500 or that kind of thing. And you're like, well, I just want to add one landing page. What are you talking about? Whereas we had a website which had been set up, and the guy who set up our website was using this fairly new thing at the time called WordPress. And it just blew my mind how easy it was to set up a website, that it was free, that there was all these plugins and themes that you could use to add extra functionality. Whereas, I say other people's websites were bespoke, and if they wanted to do something, it would always cost a lot of money. It would take a lot of time. Whereas with WordPress, you'd get a free plugin, and you could do SEO, or you could add social sharing buttons, or whatever you needed to do. So I got to a point where I was getting so frustrated with these clients where their AdWords wasn't working because their website was rubbish, that I'd say, look, let's just get you a WordPress website. It'd be much easier. We can do that. And kind of went out from there. And I then, similar to you, I left that business. I sold it for a while back and wanted something to do. And I was still into WordPress, and I was also into YouTube. I was just watching a lot of YouTubers, and I just wanted a bit of that YouTube action. And I thought, well, I can combine the two. I'll do WordPress and YouTube. Yeah. So set up the channel and I started doing WordPress videos, but now it's kind of has moved a little bit more into affiliate marketing and using WordPress as a great kind of platform to do affiliate marketing with, as a lot of people see on my latest videos. And that's kind of it. We kind of fall into it.
In your site, the best rooftop box video that you had, I mean, it proves it. It proves that you can make the site and it can make money. It takes a lot of time and work. Everyone out there watches these videos where they're making like $5,000 a day. That's not realistic, but something where you're starting off and you build it slowly over time. Like you're making, your first month you were making like just like $5 or something like that. Yeah. It was nothing. The second month you're hitting like $50. Yeah. And this month you're hitting like $100, and now it's kind of like, what about next month? Wait, $200, $300?
That's right. I hope to. I want to get up to 4 figures and sell it. And also, you mentioned selling WordPress services. That's something that I've done quite a lot of as well, where I meet people that want websites, and you can create them a website fairly quickly by using off-the-shelf themes and plugins without any bespoke development. So I've done WordPress services as well, but affiliate marketing is where I want to be, because clients, they
it's passive income. It's passive, right? Like,
yeah. Clients can take up quite a bit of your time. The website has a problem in the early hours of the morning, or when you're on holiday and they need you. So I still do have clients, which is fine. But affiliate marketing is definitely the way to go. But I think still,
and one thing also.
Go on. Sorry.
One thing also I just want to say is to anyone watching this, don't feel afraid to fire your clients, because when I first started, I would take any client I could. And that was my biggest problem, because I realized some of these clients weren't rational. They were just like, I want the next Amazon. I have $500. Yeah. And I would be like, all right, okay, I'll build you the site, I'll do it. And I realized that this is not practical. And I realized that as I was developing, I said, look, it's okay to fire clients. Just tell them, hey, what you're wanting, it's out of my scope. I can't do this for you, but you can go to this agency and they can offer, they can probably help you out with it. I just can't do it with your budget. And you can't say I don't have the expertise, but I'm sure you've run into clients too where they were just nightmares. I mean, I'd have clients that would call me and just tell me about their problems and this, and I'm like, look, I'm not a therapist. I'm a web designer.
Yeah. They want you to fix all their business problems and whatever. Can you get me more sales?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So it's like, don't be afraid to tell them no. Yeah.
No. I have fired many a client in the past, but it's actually quite hard to do that, because you think as a business person you need all the clients that you can get, but some are just toxic and they just take up all your time, and they're often the ones that don't want to pay hardly any money as well. In my experience in business, I've often found the best clients are those that don't balk at any price. You say it's going to be 1,000 and they say, yeah, that's fine. And then you don't hear from them. You do the job and it's easy and whatever. Whereas the guys that say, "Oh, can I have it for 500?" They're the ones that are going to give you all the grief.
Yeah,
yeah. And
making the site is easy. Yeah, the hard part is dealing with the clients. That's the hard part. Yeah, I get it. I've been there.
But I think it's great, WordPress as an enabler, that if people wanted to think about quitting their own job and offer a service like WordPress. You don't need to be an expert in development.
Nope.
It's perfectly fine to take a theme that's already out there and use that and use plugins and all that and just put it all together and sell that as a service. That's fine as well. And then if you need help and you get stuck with something, there is often resources out on the web that you can use, or you just hire someone. Like I have a couple of developers that I use. If something gets a bit too technical and it's out of my depth, I pull in a subcontractor to be able to plug those bits. But when I first started selling WordPress, and you're probably the same, I wasn't an expert. I kind of knew a bit. I knew how to install WordPress and install a theme, and then the rest I just kind of it was all a bit kind of winging it as I was doing it, and it all turned out in the end. I learned a lot of things. Like I did a job for one client, and they basically wanted everything. They were a health center, and they wanted timetables for all their activities. They wanted seating plans for the events that they sold, so people can pick seats. And I said, yeah, WordPress can do all that. And I ended up installing like 50 plugins on this site, and it just, fell apart and just didn't work properly. And so you do live and learn, and that's all part of life and business and growth and all that kind of stuff. But what I'd say to people, if you know how to set up a WordPress site, then you're halfway there. And if you go out and you start selling websites, and in the beginning you can't charge a lot, you do have to just kind of just get a few sites under your belt, don't you? So you've got a bit of a portfolio. But at the end, when I was still selling sites, I think the last site that I sold, again using plugins and themes, I sold for over 10,000 for the site. And I think when you get to a certain level, you can charge a lot of money to set up a WordPress site. But the first site I sold was obviously about 500. But I think anyone thinking about doing a business, I think being a WordPress setter up kind of person is a perfect business to get into.
I've had viewers say the same thing, where they say that's just like your story, where they first started doing them for like $500 to $1,000, and now I have viewers that are saying, "Bro, I'm charging $5,000 to $10,000 a website." And there's an art to it, it's you have to pick the right clients, you have to know where to market, you have to know where to go, because if you just go on Fiverr and say you got a service, it's like, good luck.
Oh, I think we lost Darrel. I'll edit this bit. It's the Thailand internet connection. Let me call him back. Oh, you're back.
Okay, I'm back. Is that good?
Yeah, no, you froze there for a minute. I don't know. It's the internet in Thailand maybe is a little bit congested.
Okay.
The last few minutes, I don't know what you said because you froze.
Oh, I said about the selling on Fiverr, and then basically you have to know how to present yourself to get the price you want. A professional image, something that's something that you would want to pay. Saying, hey, this guy's really professional. I think this guy knows his stuff, and that's really where selling comes in. I mean, WordPress, of course, is the basis of it, but learning how to sell and present yourself, that's basically how you make money. That's really what it comes down to, is presentation. So
it is, yeah. And I found that whenever I was selling WordPress services, I never sold them online. I sold them locally to people local, and I'd go to networking groups and that kind of thing and just meet people and talk to people and share my story, and that was generally enough. People will buy from you if they like you, and if you can help them. Generally people have got a problem, and they've probably had a bad experience with a web developer. Most people have.
Most of them have. Most of them have. Yeah,
where
that's
they've
true.
paid a lot of money for a website and it's not delivered. And if you're there and you can emphasize with them and say, I've seen that, or I've been there and I've done that, and have you heard of WordPress? It's the great thing about WordPress. I always found this was a great selling point, was that if for whatever reason me and you can't work together anymore, because it's not a bespoke site, because it's WordPress, you can easily just pick it up and you can find someone else who's into WordPress, of which there are thousands of people that can, and they'll take over the website for you. So you're not tied to one company, because a lot of people do get stuck with a web development company that's delivered them a bespoke platform, and then they can't get out of it. They can't move away. Yeah,
it's frustrating for them. I've run across that a few times, and I've run across clients who didn't even know their hosting credentials for their stuff. And I said, well, how can I help you? And they're like, can't you do this? And I'm like, well, I need the credentials. And that company wouldn't give it because they owed a bill or something like that. Or that's usually how it ended. But I've definitely been through trial and error, just like you. Just same experience, the same experience.
I think there's a lot of people out there that haven't. It's great. And also another way to make money with WordPress is, once you've sold the service, you can then continue the relationship with the client on a support level or on a hosting basis. And that is the great thing about this sort of business, is you don't have to keep getting new clients, because once you've got a client, you can then support them and charge them an annual fee or a monthly fee to look after them, keep their WordPress up to date, keep it safe and secure, do some basic backups, many little changes they need. And it's a great way then of earning some residual income, as long as you keep the clients happy, which shouldn't be too hard. And you can sell them hosting, you know, sign up for a reseller account with your favorite host, and then you can just set up hosting for your clients. Sell them support, keep their site up to date, help them with problems and changes. And again, you can charge some good money for that. And once you get, you know, 10 of those clients under your belt, then you've got quite a healthy income every month.
Yeah, if you got 20 clients, you're charging them $200 a month to keep all their stuff updated. I mean, that's, you know, it's a few grand for you in your pocket just for keeping them in the loop and taking care of their stuff, updating their plugins. And I know a lot of businesses that do that. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest gold mines is recurring maintenance, because WordPress, you have to maintain it. You know, if you don't maintain it, WordPress, a new version of WordPress comes out, a plugin's not compatible, breaks, something happens,
security flaws, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you need to have the maintenance plan. You need to have it, and you can tell them saying, "I'll build you the site, but I'll promise you that if you don't have the maintenance plan, it will eventually have issues." So if you want to make sure that your site's updated and everything looks good, everything's the way it's supposed to be, you know, offer a maintenance package or something like that. I've offered several of those too, for like maybe $150 a month or $200 a month, and it's going to be, you have to be very nice to them. You have to be very transparent, but you have to also put them in a position where they're going to have to say yes. You know, it's like, well,
your site will break.
It's just the truth.
You get hacked.
You know?
Things will go wrong if you don't have it, and you'll need me there. I'll be there for you if you pay me this. I'm there for you if you have any problems. I'll keep your site online. You don't have to worry.
Yeah.
It's easy sell. And you know, 200 a month, that's over 2,000 a year. As you say, you don't need too many of them, and then you've replaced your income that you were getting from your job.
Exactly. Easy. There you go. Just off maintenance plan.
So I mean, I think WordPress is a great enabler for making money. We haven't talked about affiliate, but just selling services, I think it's a great place to start, because I still do services for a few clients, not too many, because we've just talked about how clients can take up quite a lot of your time. But I think that it's a great way of, you know, keeping yourself up to date with WordPress skills and learning about what's new and finding new things that you may not have thought of, because a client will say, "Can I do this?" And that will, you know, force you then to do some research and find out how to do it and find new plugins and themes and that kind of thing. And you know, there's some really cool stuff that WordPress can do that. You know, there's just so much that you're not aware of half of it.
I mean, myself too. I'm always trying to venture off and do new things, like open up new affiliate blogs, trying to do like a new drop shipping website, and everything. I use WordPress because everyone's like, "Do you use Shopify?" And I says, "No, I don't use Shopify because it's very limited, and I just don't want that limitation on me to a site that I want to generate a lot of money and stuff like that." So, but I myself too. I'm always trying to experiment with new Facebook ads, new e-commerce sites, or something like that. And again, you know, some of them succeed, some of them fail, but in the end, most of them are WordPress. In fact, all of them are WordPress. So
yeah, I think it has to be WordPress. I mean, I did a video a while back on creating a dropshipping site with WordPress, and I had used Shopify before. But Shopify kind of reminds me a bit, going back to those bespoke platforms. If you're with Shopify, you are kind of stuck with them, and if you want to move, it's quite difficult. And the same with Wix and those kind of companies. I think once you get on those platforms, it's very difficult to get away from them and change and move if you need to.
And to be honest, some of the themes they use are just so ugly. I mean, you've seen some of the beautiful templates that like WordPress offers, and then you see some of the ones that Shopify has, and I mean, some sites are successful and they make a lot of money, but the templates I've seen for some of those sites are just hideous. I'm just like, I don't think I could sell. I don't think I can convert with this layout, you know. But then again, everyone has a different strategy. Advertising is a big part in it as well. You know, what kind of ads you run. But that's just my experience when I would use it. I said, the site just doesn't look that good. So. Yeah,
and with those platforms, it can start getting quite expensive, because you get the basic platform, but then you want to add a few plugins or whatever they call them, extensions. And
stuff.
Those you have to pay for each one of those, and it still starts to add up. And I saw just on Wix, I saw a report the other day on Wix that their sites don't rank well at all if you have a Wix site.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's difficult because like I don't even know how you would access your cPanel. Like I don't think you have access to the cPanel.
No, you don't. Like, no, it's all closed off. And
so it's like what? Like what is that? You know?
It's just restrictive, isn't it? There'll be something you're going to hit a wall at one point where you want to do something and you just can't because of the restrictions of the platform. Whereas with WordPress, you generally don't get that because it's so well supported and so well developed. There is generally something out there already that will do what you need it to do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Okay, so should we talk a little bit about themes and plugins and stuff? I mean, have you got any hot themes or plugins that you want to share with us today? Anything that you're using? I mean,
Well, I recently did a video on the new Brizzy page builder. It's not a theme, but I mean, today it's difficult because now the page builders kind of act as themes. So it's basically like, it's like, well, there's a lot of themes for Elementor, but it's like we're basically talking about Elementor here. We're not really, you know what I mean? Like, we're not really discussing the theme because the page builder kind of acts as the theme as well. The Brizzy page builder, very promising. I've used both Elementor and Brizzy. And I can say with confidence that if Brizzy continues on the road of development, although it's very slow, I will say that their development is very slow for the page builder. I said it'll be Elementor's #1 competitor, but Elementor, it's extremely easy to use. The features that they offer are just so dynamic. So it basically takes care of all the nook and crannies that you have problems with other themes. Elementor can, it can definitely, fix anything. And I've used all the page builders, and I can say with confidence that Elementor, Brizzy, and of course Divi. Divi is my #1 theme. I love that theme. And then there's other ones that I have seen, don't use. Like I started using Beaver Builder back in the day, but I just felt that they didn't really update it too much. They weren't really keeping up with the trends and everything with WordPress. But I haven't used it in a few months, so I could be wrong about that. But I did use it back in the day, and I was like, it's okay, but I just feel like Elementor is better. There's Visual Composer, which we don't talk about on the Darrel Wilson channel. Right? We don't like Visual Composer, and I really wish, because I get all these people coming to me saying that like Visual Composer is so hard, it's difficult, this, and I just don't understand to this day why people use it. Maybe it's responsive, maybe it does offer features, but there's way better alternatives today than Visual Composer, and I'm just not a Visual Composer fan.
No, me neither. But it is packaged with a lot of themes. I guess that's why it's got so much traction. And you buy a theme and it will come with Visual Composer, which you probably should switch out for Elementor. So even now, today you'd still recommend Divi over like Elementor or something like that, because I find Divi a little bit clunky and a little bit, I don't know. Yeah. I find Elementor a bit easier to use and a little bit more streamlined. I don't know.
For a business website, for beginners, I feel that the fluidity of Divi is easier. So, making the padding, adjusting stuff, it's all fluid based. So you don't have to enter in the padding number. You don't have to do any of that. With Elementor,
no, you just drag a slider, yeah.
Exactly. With Elementor, they don't have that yet. Brizzy has that right now. I think Elementor will probably introduce that in the future. I mean, I think they have to, because every other page builder has it. But I do like Divi because it's simple, it's easy for beginners. Like, I can show someone how to use Divi and they'll learn it like this. Elementor, same thing, but it can have a slight learning curve to it with like the dragging and the dropping. To me, I have a comparison video with Divi and Elementor, and I kind of showed the transparency with dragging and dropping between both page builders, and I just found that Divi was easier. However, I don't recommend Divi for e-commerce. I think that they need to pick that up. Also for their for blogging, I would say Elementor is definitely better for blogging and for e-commerce, because you can design the product page. I like the blog layout for Elementor. I think it's cleaner, it's nicer. Divi is still kind of, I mean, you can do it with Divi, but it's going to require a little bit more work. So in my opinion, for someone who's getting started out, I would use Divi for business websites, or someone for just like a 5 to 10 page websites, something simple. If you want to get more dynamic, if you want to use e-commerce, you can use Divi for e-commerce, but I think that Elementor is just a little better there, because it does offer more features that Divi doesn't. And I do like the blogging style for Elementor too. So it just really depends on the style of job, and also the clients. You can show them both, saying, hey, which one do you like, and get them, see what they're cool with or whatever. But
yeah, I definitely selling services. Divi. You could, if you got your head and become a bit of an expert on a theme like Divi, that would be enough then for you to create as many client sites as you need.
Yeah, exactly. I do also recommend the Flatsum theme for e-commerce. I've used Flatsum, and Flatsum is it's one of the top-rated selling themes on Envato Market, and I have a tutorial on that as well. And you can design the checkout page, the cart. I mean, you can design everything, and it's made specifically for e-commerce. So I do recommend. It's not as easy as a Divi and Elementor. It's not as fluid, but if you want more, like the most functionality with e-commerce, it's definitely worth a look. Definitely.
Yeah, I have built sites for Flatsum in the past, and it's a great looking theme as well in terms of e-commerce and working well with WooCommerce. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So if you're going to choose an Elementor theme, which theme would you go for?
An Elementor theme. Well, there is you know what's funny about this is that I find the free themes actually more useful than the paid themes, because I've used the paid themes. I've used Jupyter, and I used Jupyter, and the guys messaged me and they want me to do a review on it, but I just used it and I just felt it was confusing. I says, bro, like I'm totally confused. Like this is like the customizer was like a pop-up, and I just felt that this was too much. I'm saying, bro, you guys need to go back to simplicity. Keep it simple, just keep it basic. Also, there was the Flocks theme, which I used. I got to be honest, it was just the most glitchiest theme I came across. I tried my best to use the Flocks theme, but it was extremely slow and glitchy when I first used it. So I used it for about, I would say about a week, and I just gave up on it. I'm saying, guys, this theme needs a lot of work. It's way too heavy, way too clunky, way too glitchy. And I've had talks with other theme developers, and they said the same thing. So I wasn't feeling like it was my host or nothing like that. But as far as themes for Elementor or Brizy or whatever page builder you're using, I do think that one thing that I'm going to make a video on, Customify. Have you heard about it?
I haven't. No, Customify. I'll have to check that out.
It's a free theme, and it is the first free theme builder with the customizer. So basically, it's a theme builder, but not with the page builder.
Right.
So
okay.
So I used it for about a week, and I was sold. I was like, wow, we finally have a real theme builder that's with the actual theme customizer settings, not the page builder.
Which is where it should be, I guess. Exactly,
because in the video I mentioned saying, it could be bad for SEO for your site to have the theme builder with the content, because you have no header PHP file, you have no footer PHP file. So how does Google know where your site starts and ends? It doesn't.
No, as you said, that's the problem. A lot of these, there's a blurred line now between the theme and the page builder, whereas the page builder really should just be for the content elements, and the theme should be the wrapper around the outside.
Exactly. So it is an underrated theme, but it has around 40,000 active installs. Definitely worth checking out. Astra is very good as well.
Yeah, I do like a tutorial on Astra. I like Astra. What about Ocean? Is that another? Do you like Ocean?
Ocean WP is also very solid, but I do think that Astra is easier. However, I do like the features Ocean WP offers. They do offer more in their free version. They offer a lot more in their free version than Astra. But to make the page settings, I feel that Astra is easier, but I do like the blogging module for Ocean WP over Astra as well. So it just really depends. I mean, Astra and Ocean WP are almost identical, except Astra has better layouts and templates, whereas Ocean WP offers a little bit more in their free version. So it's really up to the person to kind of decide. There's very little differences. I mean, there's probably like 5 to 10 features difference from each theme. But again, Astra has more layouts, so that's something to consider if you want a free layout. So
yeah, okay. I'm just thinking. I mean, we've been in WordPress quite a while. I remember back in the early days, there wasn't any of these page builders or any of this kind of drag and drop fancy stuff. You were putting short codes everywhere and trying to cobble it all together and just going into text and loads of code and just horrible. One theme I really used to like was Xtheme. Did you ever work with Xtheme?
I used it, and I made a review on it, and I said that the abilities, you can do a lot with the Xtheme. It's just not for beginners. No. There's definitely a learning curve with the Xtheme. Definitely a learning curve.
And I don't know if you noticed, but they recently changed Cornerstone which is their page builder.
Cornerstone, yeah.
And they did a huge update to it, and they just kind of made it really difficult. I thought they made it even worse, and it's just, that theme has become a mess. It used to be one of my favorite go-to themes, but nowadays I still wear clear of it.
What about Avada? Let's talk about Avada. Everyone wants to know about why Avada's number one, and what do you think? What is your opinion?
I haven't used Avada for quite some time, so I probably couldn't comment really.
No, you never used it.
I used it a long time ago, but I don't know where it's at now. I do wonder that. Why is it the number one selling theme on Themeforest?
I just don't know. To this day, I've used it, and it's a backend builder, and I don't know. It's basically what Divi. Remember when Divi 3.0 came out before it had the front visual the builder? That's exactly what Avada is. It's before Divi. It's before Divi 3.0, and I don't know. I just don't get it. It's a mystery. It's a WordPress mystery. I don't know.
I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, I used to be a big fan of Envato and Themeforest and that marketplace, and I thought it used to be a great place to find WordPress stuff. But nowadays, I just have this feeling that the themes on Themeforest aren't that good.
No. What they are is that they're just JavaScript features. So basically, you have one theme that does the JavaScript feature when you hover over a box. This one has a different JavaScript feature when you go over the menu. I mean, you're really just after the JavaScript. I mean, you're after just the animations and everything it can do with it, and that's pretty much it. So it's.
I think maybe when you're first starting out in WordPress, you find Themeforest and you think it's going to be the answer to all your prayers, and you got all these fantastic themes. But in my experience with the themes that I've used from Themeforest, they're not as good as some of the themes you just spoke about, like Divi and Ocean and Astra. Avada's nowhere near any of those, and that's the best-selling theme on Themeforest. So that tells you something. I mean, back in the day, I used to go on Themeforest and you could search for specific themes. So if I was going to make a site for a gym or something, you'd just type in gym theme and there'd be a gym theme on Themeforest that kind of looked like ready to go, and you know. So I guess maybe it has its purpose there. But no, I don't buy anything off Envato anymore. I used to earn quite a lot of affiliate money from Envato, but not so much because I don't recommend it.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of beginners' mistakes. I get a lot of comments from viewers who are like, "Hey, I bought this theme from Envato, like for a beauty salon," and the problem is that they're all packed with Visual Composer. So it's like, well, if you don't know how to use Visual Composer, it's useless because it has a learning curve to it. And I tell everybody that, and I'm like, "Well, try Divi," and they're like, "Well, is Divi for beauty salon?" I'm like,
website, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it is. You just got to put the images in there. Yeah. What everyone's after is the demos. They see the demos, they look beautiful, and that's all they want. I want my site like that, and that's pretty much how they sell on Envato. And I know that the themes on Envato have a very low audience retention, I guess you can say, is because I looked at the number of purchases and then the number of active installs, and sometimes the active installs are lower than the actual purchases, meaning people bought it, they used it, they don't like it, they throw it away next, and that happens a lot on Envato. So.
I'm afraid so, but yeah, I say it's the demos. That's what sells it. You see a demo, you're making a website for a restaurant. You see that there's a fantastic demo of a restaurant website, and you go, "That's what I want. That's going to be perfect." And yeah, it's much better to get a vanilla theme and then just get the images and go from there. I think that's just
exactly.
But, you live and learn these things when you're making websites. Don't you?
I've probably wasted thousands of dollars on themes in my career. I mean, I bought some really just dumb things. I bought some plugins that I didn't need. Some themes I didn't need, and looking back, I was like, man, I spent a few $1,000s on just a bunch of just junk, like why did I do this? And it's a learning process for everyone, it really is. So
I've done that so many times. Like you get this theme, you install it, and as soon as you go in, you just like, no, this is not gonna.
Yeah, you're like, what did I buy? Like,
yeah, and also the level of support that you get from these different companies varies incredibly.
God,
some are like snappy. You send a message, a couple of hours later, they've sorted you out. Others, you don't hear from them at all in some cases, and that's a big problem, especially when it comes to getting updates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's finish off. Let's talk about plugins, shall we? Why not? Is there any particular we've mentioned page builders, but let's talk about things that maybe aren't page builders. Is there any plugin that you can't live without? Is there a plugin that you install on every single WordPress site you create?
I don't really. I use the SiteGround Site Optimizer now as my default caching plugin because I use SiteGround and they have a plugin for their servers, and it's just like, why would I use someone else's? It's made specifically for SiteGround servers.
I actually did a video on that a little while ago, and I found that installing another one can improve your performance, but
really,
like WP Fastest Cache, for example, will give you better performance.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
I was just about to say that one. Yeah, I don't recommend the W3 Total Cache anymore. I did, but after using WP Fastest Cache, I said, okay, this is it's definitely a solid plugin. Also,
W3
the WP
is way too complicated.
It is, and I mean the problem with these plugins is that they ask a lot of like MySQL developer questions, like, oh, your MySQL database, you wanted to do this and this. And I'm like, I don't know what a MySQL is.
I'm not qualified to answer that question.
I know, because it's like, while we're very fluent with WordPress, hosting is a whole nother ballpark. When they ask for, like, oh, what about your cron job? And especially to a beginner, they're gonna have no idea what a cron job is or your MySQL database is or any of this stuff. They're gonna say, I don't know what this is, But I just find that WP Fastest Cache is more fluent, easier. It tells you everything, and they make it simpler.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. WP Smush, another one for images. That's a good one. I've used that quite a bit. It just depends on the site I'm building, you know.
What about for SEO? Do you use Yoast or anything like that?
I do use Yoast, but I got to be honest. I'm kind of torn because when they did make that big mistake about their sites dropping and they had that bug, I didn't like how they came out. They kind of just disguised it as something in their blog post, but it was a very serious issue where people were losing their rankings. And Yoast kind of didn't address it like they should have.
They didn't throw their hands up and say, "Look, we messed up here," did they? They just
they didn't do that. And to me, that was a very big mistake. And then after that, people started losing their trust, saying, "All right, we're going to SEO Squirrely, or we're going to
all-in-one is another one."
Yeah, all-in-one SEO, something like that. So I mean, that right there, I believe Yoast did mess up, but later they did address it, and I still use Yoast. Because Yoast makes it simple. It makes it easy. They explain everything very simple. I love their wizard. It's very easy for anyone to learn. I have a tutorial on Yoast, and it's like the number one video out there because it's step by step. I do have a video on all-in-one, and I'll probably do another one. Because it's
all-in-one.
It's definitely worth talking about.
Definitely good.
Yeah, it's a great plugin. Yeah. So I mean, what about you? What plugins do you?
I use Yoast. I've recently started using WordFence quite a lot for security because I've just people just keep trying to hack me all the time. I don't know, WP Eagle especially.
I heard your site got hacked, right?
Yeah, it's been hacked a couple of times. I think that I'm a target because of YouTube and whatever. But hey, so WordFence has been particularly useful on that front. WP Fastest Cache for speed, Yoast for SEO. I love the duplicate post plugin. I use that on a load of sites, which just gives you the feature to be able to copy an existing post or page to a new one, to a new draft or whatever. Just it's easy when you're creating a lot of content that maybe looks very similar. So I love that one. But yeah, I try and keep plugins to a minimal now. Again, back in the early days, it was just install plugins for this, that, and everything. And when it comes to performance, plugins definitely have a big effect on WordPress performance, don't they? So I think if you can do without a plugin, it's best to try and avoid them.
It does, and I do use specific plugins. Like there is a plugin called Amelia for booking, Ultimate Membership Pro for membership websites, and then there's also the Peepso plugin, which creates that membership or creates like a social networking website. It's an amazing plugin because I realize that people are trying to do different things, and finding booking plugins and membership plugins can be a hassle. But I think the Amelia plugin definitely is worth a look. The Ultimate Membership Pro again, and yeah, I would say those are my recommendations as far as plugins goes. Other ones, there's themes out there that take care of that, but I feel plugins are better because you can switch the theme anywhere you want. So definitely worth looking at. So
good. Well, I think let's wrap it up. This video's going to be quite long, I think. So yeah. That'll be fine. I'll maybe chop it up a bit, but yeah, thanks for your time, and maybe we can get.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and obviously do go check out Darrel's site. I'm doing an outro in a minute anyway, so I'll talk about all that stuff. But yeah, do check Darrel out, and hopefully maybe I can join you on your channel sometime when you get a moment.
All right.
Yeah, that's all. That brings us to the end of this video. Hope you found it useful. I really enjoyed my chat with Darrel. If you haven't already taken a look at his channel, you can do so by clicking on his face that's appeared up there. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, which I recommend that you do, I try and upload every single week, you can do so by clicking on the eagle. There's a couple of other videos there that have been chosen specially for you. Hope you enjoy them. Till next time, bye for now.